Hey, what's up guys? Kool-Aid here. Today we're going to be talking all about Phoenix, the medic merc who can rise from the ashes and take vengeance out on his killer, or more than likely just give the other team an easy kill. So Phoenix has 100 health and a speed rating of 430. Comparing him just to the other medics, he's going to be more durable than Sparks and Aura, but less so than Sawbones, and then vice versa in the speed department. So kind of in the middle overall. For primary weapons, he is going to have 3 SMGs to choose from. The first one we'll talk about is the Hawk Fur. It's going to do 9 damage per body shot at a rate of fire of 812 rounds per minute, giving it a body DPS of 122. It also comes with a 55 round magazine that takes 1.9 seconds to reload. And as I've mentioned previously, it's a great gun for people who can land headshots, or for people who tend to move or jump around excessively while shooting because of that big magazine, because of that high rate of fire. The next gun we'll talk about is the almighty KEK-10, and I say that because a lot of people feel that this is the best SMG in the game, especially since the Krotz Knee has gotten nerfed in the last 2 patches. So anyways, the KEK-10 is going to do 11 damage per body shot at a rate of fire of 700 rounds per minute, giving it a body damage per second of 128, and it's going to hold 45 rounds per mag and have a 1.8 second reload. Moving on to his final primary, the Krotz Knee is going to do 12 damage per body shot at a rate of fire of 650 rounds per minute, giving it a body damage per second of 130, and it's going to hold 40 rounds per mag with a 1.7 second reload. So obviously you have to take recoil into account and spread when picking your weapon, but even though the Krotz Knee and the KEK have more than the Hawk Fur, I still prefer them slightly. I just think they're better weapons overall. Between the Krotz Knee and the KEK-10, I think it's mostly personal preference, and I think the loadout card will probably be the deciding factor. I know a lot of people are going to choose the KEK-10, but I think it's really close. Now for Phoenix's abilities, we'll start with the defibs. Most of you have probably used defibs by now, so we're not going to talk about them too much. They are obviously used to revive incapacitated teammates. Once a teammate is finished off, they will have absolutely no effect. Your defibs will revive players with anywhere from 35 to 100 health, depending on how long you charge them up. Defibs can also be used to deal damage to an enemy, but there's really no reason to do so unless you're either trolling or just finishing somebody off. In the case of the latter, they are pretty much the same as doing a knife slash without having to hit the extra button to pull your knife out. So it's great. If it seems like I'm doing it a lot, or it seems like I'm knifing a lot in this video, it's simply out of habit. It's not because I think it's better than the defibs at all. Like I said, it's just simply out of habit. His next ability, his unique ability, is the Healing Pulse. It's an area of effect heal that will heal you and any teammates within the radius. This ability can be tapped for a quick heal or charged up for a bigger heal. Also, the longer you charge it up, the longer of a cooldown the ability will have. If you just tap it, it will heal for 24 health and have a 6-second cooldown. If you charge it to its max capacity and release, it will heal for 80 and have a 12-second cooldown. You can, however, keep holding the charge, and the cooldown will increase all the way up to 20 seconds. Also, as far as I can tell, there is no way to cancel your charge once you start other than just let it go and eat that cooldown, which is a bummer because on many occasions I've either been healed or tried to heal somebody else, and during my charge they will just get healed by another source, making it a complete waste. Now lastly, you can charge it up while sprinting, which is very nice for a lot of situations, and you're going to want to do that a lot. We'll talk about that more in a minute. For his final ability, he has self-revive, probably the least useful of his abilities. This will allow you to self-revive from an incapacitated state, not a finished off state. It takes about as long as a non-medic revive. You will revive with 100% health, and it's on a 1-minute cooldown. Though I did say it's probably his least useful ability, you have to remember it is his 3rd ability, whereas most other mercs either get 2 or even just 1. So he gets an extra 3rd one. It's kind of thrown in there. That's how I look at it anyway. And you know, even though I rarely get much use out of it, when I do, it's a nice little extra thing to have. For augments and perks, or augments and loadouts, medics usually have a lot of good stuff to choose from, and Phoenix is no exception. So for healing augments, the ones that you have are extra supplies, potent packs, get up, and healing reach. Not exactly in that order. And for the aggressive Phoenix, you want to look for quick draw and drilled. Now keep in mind, I didn't test every augment to see if they're actually working correctly on Phoenix, but it does look like currently potent packs is not. So keep that in mind. If you have a card with potent packs on it, I wouldn't try to get rid of it, as this is something that I would expect to be fixed fairly soon, as they made the same mistake when they released Sparks, and you know that has since been taken care of. So hold on to that card if it's one that you really like. For my personal suggestion, I like the C41 Classic Operative. It's going to come with the Kekten primary with the M9 secondary, the Beckel Combat Knife for melee, extra supplies for the 20% cooldown on our healing pulse, quick draw for the 30% speed increase on raising and lowering our weapon, and finally cool that increases the time it takes for mounted machine guns to overheat. And I actually like cool on Phoenix more than any other merc, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Now keep in mind, this isn't necessarily the best loadout for Phoenix. He has a lot of good cards to choose from, and I've heard a ton of different opinions, but I feel like my biggest issue with Phoenix is the cooldown on healing pulse. So lowering that is mainly what I'm trying to achieve with this card, and I really like quick draw. So that is why I went with the C41 Classic Operative. So lastly, a couple tips on playing Phoenix. Don't try to charge your heal too long in a fight, especially if you're not behind cover. I found that I'll often duck behind cover and try to get a max heal off, but I'll end up getting killed while actually charging it. In most situations, it's probably better just to duck behind cover and just get a small or maybe a half charged heal. Also, always keep in mind that Phoenix can charge his heal while jumping and sprinting. So if you get in a bad situation and need to run away, do so while charging that heal up. Also, be selfish. Unless you're specifically playing behind a group of teammates, don't hold off on healing yourself to heal a teammate. You know, unless they're right in your area. You can't do anything for anybody if you're dead, basically. So that's how I look at it. As for reviving people, try to charge your defibs as much as you can before reviving, unless it's too risky. And if you can't get to a person for a revive, just don't. You know, it's not worth getting yourself killed, taking another person out of the action, trying to get a revive on somebody that's, you know, way out in the open. Just not easy to get to. And lastly, I mentioned that I liked cool a little bit more on Phoenix and other mercs, and that's because behind a turret wall is one spot that you can actually get yourself revive off a lot. So if you're somebody that likes to use turrets and you are playing Phoenix, you can, you know, flank the enemy. If you get killed on that turret, a lot of times they won't even suspect a self-revive, especially right now since Phoenix is somewhat new. Then you can just self-revive, jump right back on that turret, and start going to town again. And cool is going to help out for that. You don't need it, but, you know, like I said, it'll help out for that. But anyways, guys, that is all I have. If you have any other tips or suggestions for Phoenix, leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.